People who were in a coma. What change surprised you when you woke up? I was in a coma for close to 6 weeks. When I woke, I had to learn everything again. I had most of my speech abilities, but my motor control was horrid. I had to figure out how to wipe my ass as well as walk up and down stairs again. That took about 3 weeks. I had lost a shit ton of weight too. I was 63 and weighed about 145. I was in a coma for 4 days from bacterial meningitis. When I woke up, I was completely deaf. I had to communicate with my parents and doctors with a notepad and pen. Some hearing gradually returned in my left ear, but the right ear is still 100% deaf to this day. Yo, someone else who had bacterial meningitis. I'm so grateful you survived. Trust me, it could be so much worse. A good friend of our family went into a coma for half a year. Finally, when he woke up, he was stunned why his wife looked so old. He actually lost the last 15 years of his memory. He knew he had 2 children, but they were babies, and he didn't even know about his 3rd child. And the memory never came back. He skipped from no mobile phones to smartphones to laptops. Everything was new to him. Being stuck in early 90s, but actually being in the 2000s, there was a lot of change to handle. But learning you missed all your children growing up was the hardest for him. This is the saddest story I've seen in this thread. Oh Lord, this is awful. He must feel like he's being punished, and it must be for something terrible. My wife was in a medically induced coma for 4 days. She had a reaction to contrast dye and her heart stopped for 20 minutes. For nearly 3 months, she was confabulating about her long-dead parents. She would speak about them like they were in the next room, or she would say her daughter or brother called. But they hadn't. Over and over, she thought her mom was alive, then her dad. Drove me crazy having to gently correct her many times per day. She would come up with amazing tales about what people, relatives, friends, neighbors were doing. What they said, truly creative fiction. 3 months later, she began to come back. The confabulations stopped. Now things are reversed. She can remember recent events, but her long-term memories are gone. I don't know what that's like, but it must be awful. She cries sometimes for her lost memories, but overall she is doing very well. My dad had a reaction to contrast dye after a head injury, had seizures, and it was like his brain rebooted. He could only say, "How's the girl?" My sister had just born. He couldn't hold things or grab them, spent several months in therapy. At the end, his mood changed. He became very irascible, had little patience, and became very sleepy. He's fine now, except for some neck pains. Irascible, having or showing a tendency to be easily angered. Welcome, future readers. My wife was in a coma, 2 weeks medically induced. When she woke, she had very wrong memories. They were all based on conversations people had while in the room with her. For example, she thought they flew her to Washington, D.C. for treatment. While she was in a coma, my father-in-law mentioned how he just flew back into town from D.C. on a work trip. Somehow, she overheard this while out and her brain interpreted it to mean she flew to D.C. Even after we explained to her the reality of where she was, it took days for her to come to terms with reality. Edit. She was in a coma about 10 years ago. She is not currently in a coma. My brother-in-law had a brain tumor, so he was out for a while when he was first brought to the hospital. The nurses happened to be of Asian descent, so when he was awake, he kept apologizing to people for making them have to come to Japan to see him. My stepdad was in a coma ICU for about 3 weeks. Woke up and he couldn't find his teeth. We looked for a week, completely forgot where we put them. Then he dropped dead at the bathroom sink in the hospital, out of nowhere. They revived him. Couldn't figure out why he could barely breath. Then the hospital sat us down and showed us the x-rays with his dentures in his body. They forgot to take them out when they put the tubes in his mouth, blocking his air pipes or whatever. So yeah, we found them though. Oh damn. I know, right? I haven't seen a BlackBerry in years. My mom was in an induced coma for 3 months. When she woke up, she thought the hospital was trying to kill her. She tried to get out of bed and she fell on the floor. She could not walk. She was mostly freaked about how her feet had lost their form. They were humped over from not being used. Every muscle she had to learn again. She couldn't talk well or write at all. She has different hand writing after relearning. She said she hated how perfect her hands looked. Her nails and cuticles were perfect and clean from not being used. I remember trying to brush her hair after she woke up. Almost all of it fell out. She almost died pretty much every day she was in her coma. She had sepsis from a diverticulitis surgery gone wrong. A lot of her hair has grown back and she can walk but has brain damage that makes her seem very drunk. She is always dizzy, but it's been 5 years now and her recovery has been miraculous. Thank you all so very much for the love. I can't wait to tell her of all the people here are rooting for her. She's going to be so happy. And to whoever gave me my first gold, it's an honor to earn it for my mother, truly. Thank you. It's also going to be good for her to hear how much of you went through similar things and ended up with brain damage. She won't feel so alone. I truly thank each and every one of your comments. Much love to you all. I hope your mother will stay healthy. Thank you very much. She continues to get better every year that passes. Medically induced for approximately a week due to sepsis. When I was in, I thought I was a bird with my wings outstretched that was slowly freezing to the ground. When I woke up, I thought I was in Taos, but it looked like Raton. I was in Albuquerque, in a hospital that I had worked in for years. I thought I was 10 years younger. I thought I had gotten into a wreck, and my fiancé at the time was an abusive ex-boyfriend. I thought my fiancé had found me naked on the side of I-25 and had taken to a veterinary hospital. It took another month and a half for me to understand what happened. I was in and out of surgery and died a couple times in that time. Once, they were changing out my wound vac, and I looked down and saw inside of me. Then things started making a little more sense. I still can't eat cheeseburgers. DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, sent me into a coma. I have vague memories of being sick beforehand, but my overall sense of time was just mush. Even years later, I can't establish a correct timeline. I have flashes of memories of different doctors coming in and out of the room. Once I was out of the coma, I was still pretty out of it. When you're on an insulin drip, they check your sugar every hour. I could never actually sleep, but I felt asleep the whole time. It's a hard feeling to describe, just mushy, runny time. Edit. My boyfriend, a non-Redditor, saw me replying to various comments and asked why I was engaging with trolls. I read some of the comments. He and I are both totally impressed with how much support from random strangers exists out there. You guys are all awesome for realizing that this life isn't exactly easy. We've all thought about punching someone when they say either, "Oh, that's what my grandma has and she's fine. At least it's not cancer." Or the absolute worst, "Are you allowed to eat that?" Thank you all, you're amazing. I was in a coma for 9 days. When I woke up, I was still on a ventilator. When they took me off the ventilator, my body didn't remember to breathe on its own. I literally had to relearn how to breathe. Took me a few days. I had no natural sense for how long or deeply to inhale, how long to hold it, how long to exhale. I had to put all my mental focus towards breathing. It was really weird. Edit. For all the people wondering how I slept, I didn't for the first couple days. If I dozed off, my blood O2 monitor would start beeping and wake me up. Then a nurse would yell at me from across the ICU to remember to breathe. I couldn't talk because I'd had the tubes down my nose and throat, but I remember one time I woke up, really exhausted, to that damn beeping. So I started focusing on breathing again, but I was really angry about it. My nurse came running over yelling at me to breathe. I glared at her and screamed in my non-existent voice, "I am." She must have read my lips and felt the rage because she just put her hands up and said, all right, good job," then walked away. Anyway, shared that because I've never had the opportunity to before. My ability to breathe normally was back within a month or so, and my health is good nowadays, so I wouldn't say it had any permanent effects. I'm now manual breathing, so thanks for that. Don't forget to blink. Back in the 90s, my great-grandfather had a stroke. He was in a coma for 3 weeks, and when he woke up, he could not speak English. All he could speak was the Choctaw language. He had learned it when he was a kid because his family lived right near a Choctaw reserve, and he played with a lot of those kids. He spoke it fluently at that time, but forgot it over his life to where he couldn't remember any of it by this time. This went on for around 10 days, and then he woke up from a night's sleep and could suddenly speak only English again, not remembering a word of Choctaw. He was also able to repeat verbatim every conversation that had been held in the room that he was in. One of my grandmothers grew up speaking Yiddish and knew a few, mostly dirty, phrases she would teach to her grandchildren, but wasn't fluent anymore. Towards the end of her life, she started saying more and more things in Yiddish. like it was coming back to her. My other grandmother grew up with French as her first language, but I can't say she's fluent anymore. Language is a funny thing. Whoa, brains are weird man edit. 8K upvotes for being stoned. Reddit's weird man. Edit 2. Since I have your attention, please contemplate with me where the soul ends and the brain begins. It's fairly universally accepted from all peoples of planet Earth, regardless of religion or belief, that we have a soul. We have a true self other from our body. Our bodies are only vessels for our souls to be able to be on this physical plane. Let's say for the sake of argument that what I just said is the standard accepted truth on planet Earth. Are our thoughts our soul or our body-brain? We have so little understanding of the brain, and I believe it is so complex because it has to house our souls, right? Gimme yo thoughts, Reddit. I'm curious about what you have to say. There is a guy who started speaking fluent Cantonese after a coma IIRC. He even got a Chinese girlfriend as a result. I was in a coma for 4 days. When I woke up, everyone was talking about the baby boy I had. I had lost my long-term memory and didn't even remember being pregnant. My son was at the children's hospital in the NICU. I delivered him via C-section at 29 WKS. All this was due to me having Crohn's disease. I found out after I woke up. My colon had ruptured during my pregnancy. My husband said I was talking like a child when I first woke up. When I woke, I felt super tired, but then the next few days, kinda restless. I remembered one conversation my mom had with a nurse while I was under. After a couple of days, I got my long-term memory back and remembered everything up until my second surgery, then nothing until I woke up. My son was my third surgery. Edit. So my son was what surprised me. Me having Crohn's disease, he fellow crony. Gotta say, your diagnosis story sounds pretty awful. Hope you and the little one are doing better now. Little late to the party, but after a suicide attempt which led to an overdose, I spent about 2 days in a coma and almost died. While obviously nothing changed in 2 days society-wise, my personality changed heavily, and I don't consider myself the same person as before the coma. I feel like that side of me died and different parts of my brain took over, creating a new personality in control. There is that one guy who commented on a thread like this before. He grew up, had a family and kids and memories for a lifetime only to wake up. He was super depressed after. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments, you can share your story, and don't forget to check out other videos on my channel.